I'm Andy Dobson. I'm CTO at Octopus Investments. So I look after the technical architecture direction of the company. We've got large software engineering functions, so the usual front-end, back-end engineers, DevOps function, test function, architecture functions. That all sits under me. We're a financial services company founded in 2000. Based in London, but we've got people all over the world. We've also got an office in New York and offices in Australia, and we build and support a multitude of different financial services products. And as a company, we believe in investing responsibly in areas that will make a positive impact on the world. So renewable energy, healthcare, property, smaller companies. We're also B Corp. So we're assessed on how our activities impact our stakeholders being community, environment, customers and shareholders. So we're not just about making money via the quickest route, it's about sustainable investing and acting responsible as a company, and that's how we like to be judged. First up, it would be technical proficiency. So we're quite up to date in our tech stacks. We're very automated, we're quite a mature DevOps function. So we need people that can come in, no matter where they're coming from, that are up to date in technology, can slide straight into a team without too much uptime. So tech proficiency is important. We're looking for people we can have a long-term engagement with. So we don't offshore projects and then just get the work back and move on. We have team engagement models. We want to engage with testers and developers and DevOps people offshore. So I've had offshore people working for us from Ukraine who've been with us for over 5 years, for example. Because we're agile, Scrum, we pretty much follow Scrum, so constant and open communication is really important. So a good level of English, so that's both written and spoken English. Adaptability, I mentioned the two founders, entrepreneurial, and that feeds all the way through the company. It's a very entrepreneurial company, so that means we change direction quickly. And anyone that works at Octopus needs to be comfortable with that. And also we want people that buy into our values. We have very strong customer focus, as I mentioned, but also we have values which we stick to, and we want people to come in and be part of that. Just because they're working offshore as a contractor or through a vendor is no different, really. We interview everyone that comes in, and we expect them to have the same standards in terms of values as perm people working in the UK. So it's getting on for 6 years ago. It's a long time ago. And before then, we did have individual contractors working for us around the world. We still do, but we needed to scale quite quickly at the time. We're finding individuals via your network and it takes a bit of time. So we were looking for vendors who we could work with, who could allow us to scale up a bit quicker. So I spoke to companies all over the world, again, South America, Central America, Asia, and we ended up with KnubiSoft, mainly because they ticked most of the boxes I was talking about before, but also they were very easy to deal with, very easy to communicate with, very transparent on the costings. Our model of how we like to pay is slightly different to how most companies work, and KnubiSoft absolutely adapted to that without any problems. Also, we've got pretty strict due diligence, as you'd expect for a financial services company. So there's some hoops to jump through there, but again, no issues with KnubiSoft. So it was a combination of cost, availability, plus all of the stuff that we spoke about before. With financial services, so that's our business domain. So they work in that area. Our biggest thing over the last 4 years probably has been migration. So that's tech migration. Hosting migration. So we do a lot of stuff about business value as well, client portals and all the rest of it, but actually that's been a big part of what we've done. So we had tech diversity before, which is way too big for what the size of our company. Our business is complicated and our architecture does reflect that. We've got a lot of different APIs and systems, but it was too complicated for what we're doing. So we wanted to migrate from having that complexity into something simpler. So that meant, from a DevOps point of view, moving from we had Travis, we had GitHub Actions, we had Azure DevOps, we had Jenkins, all doing our DevOps tooling. We hosted on-prem as well as GCP, AWS, and Azure. We coded backend in PHP, Python, and .NET. So the tech diversity was crazy for a company of our size, and that made it quite hard for me to resource. So a lot of what we've been doing the last 4 years is migrating on-premise monoliths and splitting them out into a microservices architecture hosted in Azure, migrating GCP Azure to Azure, as well as rewriting code from PHP and other technologies into .NET. And that's what KnubiSoft have been helping us to do. And as part of that is changing our architecture from point-to-point integrations into event-driven architecture, with Kafka, and message broker sitting in the middle. So the people who are coming in, they need to be good coders, that's a given, but actually they've got to understand architecture really well. They've got to have experience of sort of migration, data and code migration, system migrations, and they've got to be pretty good in Azure. That's something NubiSoft have done really well with. So I don't actually insist on people having financial services experience before they join us, but I do expect them to be sharp and be able to pick it up and learn the business quickly. And that's certainly been the case for NubiSoft guys. So they've bought into a culture and bought into our business really well. And I've never had any issues with the tech knowledge. Yeah, so some of that is a communication spoken before. So some of that is just actually written English and verbal English. So that's important. But also it's being open to communication. So it's being available, stand-ups every day. It's attending all the ceremonies. It's having your cameras on. It's like you're really buying into the team is important. We've got a really strong feedback culture at Octopus, and actually, it doesn't matter whether you're a permanent employee or someone working from Ukraine, it doesn't make a difference. We want people to be very open to positive, constructive criticism and be able to give that as well. So we treat offshore people just as if they're a permanent employee, and that's worked really well with the NubiSoft guys. And I think the fact that some of them have been with us for years is testament for that, actually. I think it'd be one of a multitude of decommissioning migration projects, but the CRM project. So we have a large Dynamics CRM, which has well over 100 integration points building into it, which is key to the business. So from a cost point of view, and a tech point of view, and complexity point of view, and whilst we've migrated, we've been changing the architecture around it. That's been a really complicated project from a planning, tech and architectural perspective. And that's something I've been heavily engaged in and done really well on. Yeah, absolutely we would. It's been a really good relationship. And I think we've had, you were probably the first vendor we took on board at that time, and we still have, and some vendors have come and gone in that time, but we're still working really well together, despite everything that's happened over the last year. I've just found Ukrainian people have just, and NubiSoft who have just been amazingly resilient, actually, and we just haven't really had a falling standards or falling engagement over the last year. So absolutely, we'd want to carry on a relationship. We don't have any issues with what's happened in the past. But I think primarily it's NubiSoft supply good quality candidates quite quickly. So there's a tech shortage all around the world, everyone knows that. And we do have quite specific demands, both from a people point of view as well as a tech point of view. But whatever we throw your way in terms of job specs, actually we always get a good list of candidates coming back to interview at a reasonable cost. So yeah, absolutely, it's a good relationship.